1, go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game of Day 1 for the Age of Empires 2 Return of the Kings 2v2 tournament, sponsored by Microsoft and organized by Escape Gaming. We are in the final game. This is going to be Slam and MbL versus RiuT and Miguel. Final game of just today, of course, and it would be great to see all of you come back tomorrow for the finals, which is going to be a great series of games. Zach, would you like to introduce the players and the map?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I just want to apologize for the technical difficulties. As a result, my internet wasn't suitable for streaming this afternoon. For some reason, it just started dropping and there were issues. So for that reason, Rez is now taking over and he's handling the stream, which means that we can't show you the vetoes or anything before the game. And that's why we're jumping straight into it. The score right now is 1-1. So this is the deciding game in this best of 3. For who will drop out of the tournament and who will make it through to the semi-finals tomorrow. So, as you can see, in the south of the map, in the blue, we have Slam. He is playing as the Mayans. His teammate in the red to his left is MbL, and he is playing as the Malians. Wait, what? Oh yeah, of course, it's game 3. That makes sense now. So I was confused for a second because obviously the Mayans is an old civ, the Malians is a new civ. Well, in game 3, each team has one new and one old, and it's not just old versus new like the previous games, and that would explain it. So we've got Malians and Malians and Mayans. On the other side of the map, for Team RiuT and Miguel, we have in the green RiuT playing as the Berbers, and to his north we have Miguel in the pink as the Spanish. So Spanish Berbers versus Mayans and Malians. And the map, of course, is Hideout.
So Hideout is a map where players spawn. It's kind of, think of it like a reverse arena. But the main difference here, though, is that we have palisade walls and not stone walls. What this means for strategies is that it disincentivizes Dark Age and Feudal Age rushes for the most part, and generally we expect players to go for a fast Castle Age, and then that's when the heavy aggression and attacking starts, as soon as those palisade walls become insufficient to defend against it. Now, when we're talking a little bit about the maps themselves, I gotta say, Miguel's map is looking pretty cozy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. It's so weird, isn't it? That generation, though, he's almost complete. I mean, imagine if he was completely closed in. I wonder if that's actually possible. He's got one tiny palisade wall, whereas everyone else has like so much exposed sides. I mean, the exact opposite of what we have on Miguel's map is the Slam's map, for example, or MbL's map, where you have this line of palisades that's like perpendicular. Sorry, not perpendicular, parallel to the tree line. And it's just it serves no purpose, but you know, that's just the generation for you.
And what that means is that since Miguel actually has both of his gold mines inside and his stone mines, he is actually very safe. Super rush-proof here. He could even stonewall this off if he wanted to, just to keep himself alive. So Miguel, going to be quite safe. On the other hand, all of the other players are going to be more vulnerable to early game rushes. So Nilfir, what do you think of the players' maps?
The most interesting map is obviously Miguel's. If we wouldn't play with our mod, which reduces or increases the attacks for slinging, that means giving resources to a teammate from 70 to 50%, or from 30 to 50%, I mean, Miguel would have the map to just wall himself and send all the resources to RiuT. That's your typical strategy. But here, he has to play something more aggressive, or everyone will come to RiuT and he will struggle. So I think we will see a castle from Miguel and a lot of booming behind it, more booming than you would normally see.
Yeah, it can be very comfortable to boom when you're feeling very cozy like this. So I think so, especially since he's the Spanish as well. I mean, how often do you see the Spanish just, content with 3 TCs? Oh no, they want 4, they want 5. Spanish love to have a big economy, and it's no surprise given how in the end game they're aiming to get paladins up. They could be looking to get conquistadors if they're going for a more Castle Age aggression style, but either way, I mean, I think it's expected that we'll see Miguel build a lot of TCs and boom his eco here. But I mean, the thing is, I feel like on this map, you're kind of forced out towards the edge anyway to get the extra gold and stuff, and you don't want to run the risk of being boxed in and running out of room, especially if MbL decides to play aggressive, for example. Like, let's consider that he comes forwards with some siege workshops and monastery, and he's like, all right, I'm going to have this. And then Miguel is just out of space all of a sudden. So he has to be careful of running that risk as well.
Yeah, it's important to note that even as safe as he may feel, without really that much space, he is just going to be forced out near the edges. Generally, when it comes to hideout, we usually see teams splitting the map in half by walling along the edges of the map. And we already see the way the map is laid out that there's already a really nice way to do that on the right side with that forest that's jutting out. On the left side, though, it's going to be a little bit trickier to do that, because the ideal spot to wall that between those two forests is going to be right up against MbL's own base. But in the meantime, these players are just going to be content to boom up, build up their economy, and everyone's going to be going for a fast castle age.
Yeah, that's pretty expected, and really the question is what happens next. It's kind of cool that we end the day with Hideout. Since we started the day with Hideout as well, the very first map of the day was Hideout, back to ACCM versus Tim and Lix, and we saw. I mean, the Vietnamese guys are playing super aggressive, and they're dropping forward castles. They're like full-on monk and siege rushing on like 1 TC, and I think we're going to see similar with the castles here, especially for someone like Slam, who is playing as the Mayans. He wants that castle. When he hits the castle age, he wants to drop a castle, and he wants to get some plumed archers out, take some map control. I think the same could be said for RiuT as well. He's got 3 on stone already, same as Slam. It's basically the same build order right now, as both players will fast castle and look to build that castle, maybe defensively, maybe forward, but most likely defensively on this one. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it is worth noting that Miguel is not... Okay, never mind, he's going to go on stone, so... It's going to be everybody, probably but MbL. I would be surprised to see from the Malians a fast castle age into Gabitos. I think it's okay, but adjacent to a Spanish player, it's an absolute disaster. So I would not expect to see that, as they do have a significant weakness to conquistadors. So I wonder what MbL will go for instead. He could very easily go for something like Crossbowman, which is of course bolstered by his 15% cheaper wood cost on his buildings, as well as his free gold mining upgrades. But either way, market coming down, blacksmith will be coming down shortly after. MbL will probably be the first player to castle age.
Yeah, I think monks and siege is reasonable against the Spanish, since you can go for the conversions on the conquistadors. Or, I mean, crossbows can work fine as well. I mean, obviously a crossbow is a lot weaker than a conquistador, but they're easier to mass. You don't need a castle. You can do a little bit of booming behind it at the same time, and if you do go crossbows, they can trade quite well against conquistadors as well if you are able to outmass them. So yeah, I mean, I feel like crossbow could work, monks mangonels could work. I feel like it's more likely to be similar to monks and mangonels, given that he's not built a barracks and archery range, for example. He's just gone for the market blacksmith instead. So yeah, we'll see. But right now, Miguel moving out with 3 vills, and that's a stone wall.
Man, it is. He has to be careful, though, because MbL Not Born Yesterday is scouting aggressively around just to make sure that he can see what's going on. Slam as well, looking around with his Eagle Scout, and, well, MbL's Scout will barely leave that exchange, so he does know where the wallop is going. And the wall, this means that they are going to cede a lot of map control, I think, to MbL and Slam, but Miguel knows that the way his own map is set up, I think he's just content to boom up and play defensively here. And if I compare civilizations, I actually feel like both of them have very, very strong late game. But maybe I like the Spanish a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the team wall coming in is expected, and you got to be careful, though, because it's so easy to break these walls down. Even when they get the 1,800 health, a couple of mangonels, they'll be straight through there, and if they're supported by some monks or some other ranged units, it's going to be difficult to wall behind it as well, especially when you have such a long wall to cover also. So, yeah, I feel like Miguel here just wants to secure himself a bit more map so that he doesn't end up with the problem we said earlier about being too boxed in. And I expect we'll see a castle coming out front of his palisade once he hits the castle age. So first to go up should be MbL, right? He's looking like he's going to reach the castle age first. We know that Miguel, RiuT, and Slam are likely to be building castles. And I imagine they're all going to put them fairly defensively as well. Now, the thing here for RiuT and Miguel is that since the left side is now closed, they could both work together on pushing the right side. There's no reason why it has to be sort of like pushed on both sides. They could just focus their attention on one instead and maybe have a lot more of a potent attack there.
It looks like it's definitely going to be monks coming out from MbL, which is, of course, the other excellent option for the Malians, for the same reason why it's strong for crossmen. Their economy just fits really nicely into that. And we know it's monks because he has so many villagers on gold. Monastery coming down now. Miguel walling very close to his own base because walls take forever to build, even if you're the Spanish, and if he walled much further out, he might not have been able to get it up in time for that initial attack. So we're seeing monks coming out from him. Nilfer, what do you think of the strategy choices for these players? How do you think it's going to work out for them?
I totally don't understand why Miguel is going for that stone wall. If he simply gets up a castle, he's super safe at that side anyways. And he did scout MbL wasn't going aggressively, so simply build the castle there and it's all good. And he was risking so much to send out 3 villagers, and I think he will, achieve the same.
Well, he's delayed his castle as well, hasn't he, by building the walls?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess it's peace of mind though, because if you put a castle there, they could always run around the top and avoid the castle and like sneak through. At least if he has a solid wall, he's gonna know if something goes through. So it's peace of mind, I suppose.
Yeah, but another problem with this wall, I guess, in the later stages of the game is it does not allow for a nice, smooth trade line. I would expect RiuT and Miguel to kind of partition the map in half, and then that way they have the entire top side of it as an excellent straight trade line. But they won't be able to do that with that stone wall there, so they will probably have to adjust that if the game drags on too long. We'll have to see. Either way, RiuT's got his castle down, making some camel archers. When it comes to camel archers versus plumed archers, I feel like the Mayans have a much better economy, and this isn't a great matchup for the camel archers, but it should be not too bad.
Yeah, obviously the camel archers have a bit of a higher health pool, and they both have 1 pierce armor as well, I believe. So should be a decent fight for the camel archers now until the plumed archers get massed up. And I think the real key is that the Mayan player can do that whilst also booming very effectively as well. So anyway, third TC coming up for Slam, but I just wanted to draw your guys' attention to the relics because they are very much in favor of Slam and MbL right now. And with MbL going monks, I mean, considering there's a wall off from Miguel here, I would be surprised if he doesn't at least go and try and grab some relics. He only sees 1 of these 4 so far, but they are very close to his base, and I feel like it would be a mistake to not grab them while he still can.
So right now, it's going to be 60 HP versus 50. They both have the same range. Camel archers just have better stats overall, but critically, Slam's got fletching, and you can do this when you're the Mayans. You can also have more militarians too, because your economy is just better. RiuT had the hill, though, so Slam has to retreat. The Camel Archers are slightly faster, so a little bit of a dicey engagement there, but it looks like Slam will be just fine. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, MbL wants to go for that Monks and Mangonels push, but the rush distance is so far that by the time the Monks and the Mangonels get there, they're not really going to be able to do too much, so at least he's able to boom off the back of this, and that's why he has 2 additional town centers.
Yeah, and he's actually building his own wall now as well, just to block that off. So it seems like neither team wants what the top section of the map's got to offer, which is like a single stone mine. Like they're just not interested. Like no man's land right now. MbL Scout might end up getting trapped in there, and maybe a couple of monks. But yeah, I think really it doesn't. Actually, hold on a minute. Is Miguel going to just try and pull a fast one, play a little sneaky move here? Because he deleted a hole in his wall, and I thought maybe Miguel was going to delete a hole and send his conquistadors through, and then MbL wouldn't realize that he's coming, because he'd just think it's walled up because there's no gate or anything. Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to send the conks through at the top. Look.
Oh, Ooh, some mind games there, and of course, everything seen by MbL's scout. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, we have another fight between Slam and RiuT. Both players looking for that pickoff, and one Camel Archer will fall. Fletching is now completed for RiuT, and once again, we're at a stalemate because of that hill.
Yeah, of course, Slambl doesn't want to push into that, and even the numbers here look pretty good for RiuT as well, actually. Bear in mind, he's actually got 2 more base attack, and with Fletching coming in now as well for RiuT, it's pretty good for him to take this fight. Problem is, of course, neither player has ballistics, so they're so inaccurate that both armies nearly completely missed each other there. On the top side, Miguel coming in, getting 1 conversion, well, MbL getting 1 conversion straight away, and Miguel's sort of sneak attack shut down there by those monks which were posted and positioned there. MbL coming forward with the siege workshop. Will Miguel see it, or will he run straight by? He's ran straight by, so I don't know if he's going to be anticipating the siege just yet. He sees MbL walling up now, and maybe he thinks actually MbL's playing the defensive game. Both these players just messing with each other at the moment.
Look at Miguel's walls. He trapped his own villager, therefore his house, because his villager isn't building houses.
That's funny.
Oh man, that's
oh,
the
the house
disaster.
foundations at the edge. Oh, that's brilliant. He's actually trapped his villager in here with the house as well now. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's not. Sorry, there was a hole there. My bad. There's always a hole.
I was going to quickly say, I really like that MbL got the Sanctity upgrade so early for his monks, allowing them to live an additional Conquistador shot. That really helps you come out on top of those engagements. Now, Nilfair, what do you think of the current state of the game?
I think it's looking extremely good for MbL and Slam. Slam has a better eco compared to RiuT. MbL has a way better eco than Miguel. Miguel is now trying to catch up with 40 Cs, but if MbL is keeping up the pressure, and it looks like he wants to, Miguel is in huge trouble.
Yeah, as we say that though, MbL just doesn't react as these conquistadors come in. Like, the conversion wasn't even attempted there.
Oh
that was sloppy, and he just gave that up. But okay, he does get 1 lucky conversion at the end, considering how late he actually told those monks to get going. But yeah, Miguel there, I think you could be right. To be honest, he's really trying to catch up in eco. You see him seeding so many farms now, and going up to that 4th TC as well. I think he's the only player to go up to the 4th TC in this game so far. And I mean, we said earlier on that the Spanish do prefer to have the extra TC. In the south, though, there is a fight going on. That is, of course, Slam coming in versus RiuT's Camel Archers, and I think he's going to push him right back as well. He's got a great number of plumed archers there, both players even on the upgrades, but all in all, numbers winning out there for Slam, and that's usually the case with these plumed archers.
Yeah, normally the Camel Archer just has better 1-to-1 combat stats, but the Mayan economy we see time and time again, allowing him to come out on top, and really, RiuT just has been using this hill to his advantage. That's what's keeping him in the game. And now that he's off that hill, he is out of his element and not able to actually win that fight. He's going to push him back, delay his stone wall. And this is quite bad for RiuT because he has almost no resources in the bank at all. Miguel does have some. MbL on his way to the Imperial Age. This could be quite significant. Meanwhile, Slam nowhere near it. So really, it's just MbL is the only player that's on his way to Imp.
Yeah, and throwing down barracks as well. I like this. He's going to be using those Malians, the Malian bonus, sorry, extra pierce armor on their infantry per age. And that's going to be interesting here. Castle coming down on this wall as well. Now, look how many rams he's got inside the siege workshop. He's really just preparing for this. He had no intention to take this in the castle age. But he was just kind of getting ready, getting his wall up, taking the control, getting the siege workshop down, preparing himself. And once that Imperial Age upgrade comes in, MbL could be in a great position to steamroll Miguel here, especially with all these rams which he's preparing. There's no way that Miguel's going to be able to stop them on short notice. He hasn't got a siege workshop. He doesn't have any, many conquistadors or any units to counter the rams. And we could even see his castle going down. This could be a real problem for Miguel.
That it could, and on the bottom side of the map, this could be a big problem for RiuT, as Slam is now the new king of the hill. This hill has been his absolute nemesis the entire game, and now he is in full control of it. RiuT has found another hill, but unfortunately, this one is just not as majestic as the previous one. He still will be able to force Slam to like back off, but I feel like RiuT really shouldn't take this fight. He feels like he has to, though, to deny this castle from going up, but he's going to lose so many camel archers and just make the problem even worse for him because now he's even further behind on military population.
Yeah, he tried to like focus the villagers, and obviously Slam had a lot of plumed archers there as well, so they were able to just clean it up. And as a result, Slam's got the hill now, and he's got a castle on it too. So first player to Imperial, it is MbL, and that's a lot of pikes coming out right there with 4 pierce armor right now. That's only going to increase as MbL's doing chainmail armor as we speak. The the castle is up. Maybe we will see 1 trebuchet coming out, but right now it's going to be all about those capped rams, as he's got 7 of those prepared in the siege workshop. What about Miguel, though? Miguel is on the way up to the Imperial Age as well. His stable's just coming up now, so, you know, he's got to get some knights ready to deal with this, and even when he does have those knights ready, he's going to be up against a wall of pikes. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, so every player on the way to the Imperial Age, and they're not too far behind MbL, but MbL has that tech lead, and I really feel like going for Paladins is not that great of an idea versus the Malians. The Malians don't have bracers, so even though sometimes we see them make Arbalest and elite skirmishers, it's generally not a great thing for them in the later stages of the game without those upgrades. Could expect something like hand cannoneers, which I guess the knights are decent against, but still, I feel like going for knights is probably not going to pay off for Miguel, and he's going to be in for a rude surprise when you see those pikemen. Meanwhile, Slam juking this army from RiuT. He's going to try and sit on this hill and then pick off the remaining camel archers.
Really nice team play there by Slam and MbL, actually. Slam bringing his plumes all the way around the map just to support MbL's push. MbL releasing the rams, and they are coming through. That's a lot of rams right there. That castle is going to come under heavy fire very soon, and this is the problem I was talking about earlier. Where does Miguel build this military production buildings?
Ooh.
It has to be in front of his palisade wall, and as a result, if he loses these military production buildings, he has nowhere to retreat to because he cannot build them in his economy. It's such a small area. He just doesn't have the space. So he's throwing down mass barracks right now. He did, of course, do bloodlines looking for Paladin, but or like Cavalier or Knights or whatever. But that had to just go to the side now as Miguel is doing pikes, and he's going to fight pikes with pikes, it seems.
Yeah, you were absolutely correct about the lack of military buildings. There's really nowhere for Miguel to put them, and now he is in deep trouble. The capped rams pushing in, backed by the Malians pikemen with 7 pierce armor. They no longer have halberdiers anymore, but still, this will be sufficient. RiuT is at least here to defend this, but there are just no answers at all to those capped rams. A single battering ram coming out is just not going to be enough. They can't remove the siege, and that's going to give MbL an opportunity to put down another siege workshop. Nilfgaard, what do you think of the situation?
Oh boy, it's looking so bad for Miguel. He's now trying to get halberdiers out himself. RiuT couldn't really help. Obviously, camel archers not doing any damage against the pikemen. And yeah, Miguel losing all his production at the front. And then there's not much left of him.
Yeah, but there's nothing left of Miguel right now. MbL with 7 pierce armor on his pikes. How do you deal with that? And not only that, but, you know, RiuT was sending, well, it's game over, but RiuT was sending camel archers to help defend. He sent them over, and as you said, they were doing nothing, but more importantly, as those camel archers were helping to defend Miguel, it allowed Slam to get another castle on the hill on the right side, and more trebs. And so RiuT was losing his castles at home, and yeah, I mean, Miguel just crumbling there to that great ram rush from MbL and those Malian pikemen. I don't think either of them saw that coming.
Yeah, hand cannoneers or champions would have really been the only way to deal with that, and they just weren't prepared. Great decision there from MbL, I think, to just go to the Imperial Age before everyone else, wait for that, and then go for that push. Definitely caught them off guard, and I really feel like MbL and Slam were just having a lot of great synergy there. Some excellent team play, and that won them the game. So, GG well played, and congratulations to MbL and Slam.
Yeah, they're going to take the series 2-1. And before we talk a bit more about that, maybe Nilfgaard can go ahead and give us some final closing thoughts on that game.
Slam against RiuT, I think that side looked pretty even. And MbL, what did he actually do? He built a monastery, he built 3 monks, and then he boomed. This would have been a typical doubt game as well. Getting a lot of TCs, a lot of villagers, and then just having quick boom and push. And Miguel, if you go for that strat, I said it before, those conks won't do much. And you remember me saying, like, with this map, he will go into a heavy boom. And we saw him going for weird walls, a very late castle, conks that didn't do anything. And therefore, MbL just stomped him.
And that he did.
Yeah, that's right. Just as soon as he hit the Imperial Age, he was ready to go. Like, he was super prepared. I loved the forward siege workshop as well. I don't think Miguel scouted it. And, you know, that just allowed him to just be that much quicker to apply that pressure. So, well played to MbL and Slam. They will actually go through to the semi-finals. And obviously, I don't think Rez can show the bracket on the screen, but I'll post the bracket in the chat for you. You can see here how that looks right now. Tomorrow, we've got the semi-finals and the grand finals, which is going to be a best of 5. The semi-finals will be Viper and Doubt versus Backed versus and ACCM. I'm really looking forward to that because the playstyle from Backed and ACCM has been super entertaining so far. And then we also have the second semi-final, which is Nikov and Tato versus Slam and MbL, with the winners of each advancing to the grand final. Exciting, exciting stuff. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing those games tomorrow. I'm going to be joined once again by Rez for that, and hopefully my internet will be working to the point where I can actually stream properly and not have frame drops and all of those problems.
As always, it's an honor, Zach. Thank you for having me. Great news, everybody. Just at the end of today's stream, my computer has finally fixed all of the corrupted data from yesterday.